Hey you guys, it's Peter, and welcome to my channel, Peterisms, where I tell stories of my life and just little things that I have learned as I have grown into the person that I am. And I brought 3 meditation books with me today. I wanted to read from the Daily Book of Positive Quotations by Linda Picone. So let's get right into this. It is September 3rd. Are you ready? Okay, let's see. I cannot believe it's in September. It's in September. I can't believe we are in September already. Oh my gosh, where are my glasses? Oh my God, I put them in the kitchen. Someone's in the kitchen with my glasses. I wish, like, do you ever wish you could just look at your dogs and say, hey Tucker, could you bring me my glasses, please? Hey Tucker, come on. Hey buddy, could you bring me my glasses? Oh, he's back there with my chapstick. Could you bring me my glasses, please? He said, what? I don't understand you. Okay. The rat race. Oh, it's a quote by Lily Tomlin. I love her. September 3rd, the rat race. The problem with winning the rat race is you're still a rat. Lily Tomlin. None of us likes to lose. We all want to be winners. But what exactly does winning mean? And what if we decide that we don't want to compete? Does this automatically make us a loser? Maybe it's time to get rid of the idea that life is a kind of race. What if instead we saw life as a kind of dance, where the idea isn't to win, but to learn new moves, execute them gracefully, and above all, enjoy ourselves? What if instead we saw life as a kind of dance where the idea isn't to win, but to learn new moves, execute them gracefully, and above all, enjoy ourselves? Thought for the day. I want to win as much as the next person, but I don't feel obliged to accept someone else's definition of winning. My own definition of winning is to maintain my integrity, optimism, and compassion in the face of events that threaten these qualities. I don't really care much about winning. Is that weird? Like, I'm sitting here reading this meditation and I'm thought, like, that's never really been that important to me. I really hasn't, like, competition, like being better than somebody else and whatever and all that kind of stuff. And you know, I don't talk much about this in my vlogs and things, but I have talked about it a couple times. I don't know if I've ever talked about it over here, but I grew up playing competitive tennis, and I was actually being trained to be a professional tennis player. And so, you know, I grew up playing a lot of tennis, but I wasn't super competitive. I just wasn't, you know? I didn't go on the court to be like, I'm just going to beat somebody's, you know, ASS and all that kind of stuff. I will say that I was it was very internalized by my father to have good sportsmanship. And I can remember one of the last times I ever played tennis, you know, competitively. I ended up playing for high school. In my freshman year, I ended up playing, like, I was in the junior high still, and I ended up playing for the high school team. And there was a situation, and I threw my racket or something, and I never did that. Like, I never did. And it was just like a really bad day, and I can't even remember what happened, but I just took my racket and I like threw it down. And my dad went out and he said, go fault the game. And I said, what? And he goes, you know, let the game go. And he goes, go shake his hand. The game is over, you know? And I was like, and I can remember the coach looking at me and everything. My dad's like, you're not going to play that way. If you're going to throw your racket, you're not going to play. And I don't know, I think that maybe, like, when I got into, like, high school sports and things like that, there was a sense of competitiveness. I can remember that. And even isolation from my own team. You know, I had grown up having coaches, and we were, like, all on a team together. And it was like, okay, so this person would play number one, you know, this is such a silly story. But anyway, like, number one, you know, singles, and someone's going to play number 2 singles. And then you guys will, like, you know, I don't know, like, play each other for, like, who's going to have number 1 singles next week and stuff like that. But it never felt competitive, you know? There were times that I was number 1 singles, there were times that I was number 2, 3 singles, right? Like, it never felt super competitive to me, although I was typically number 1. But, I mean, like, in my adult life, like, I mean, I really, you know, and maybe that's because I think, like, tennis was absolutely something I loved. I watched it on TV with my family. My dad and my stepmom literally used to go to, like, every tennis match in the world. You know, it just was something that was so ingrained in me that I just loved it, and it was natural for me. It was like, it was never something that was super difficult to me. And I don't, like, things today that are very, very difficult for me, I don't feel like winning is a huge deal. You know what I mean? As well. I just don't feel competitive with people. I don't. And I don't know, maybe that's being part of a 12-step program where you really look at, you know, that all we basically have is a daily reprieve from recovery. You know, that even if I have 25 and a half years, I really, to the person that is 1 day sober, they have just as much as I do. I mean, it's really, like, we say this, like, who got up earliest today? And there's so much truth to that. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. It's like, if you have 40 years of sobriety, you're not a better person or a better person in recovery than somebody that has 1 year. There's no sentiment to that whatsoever. I do remember, years ago, my husband and I interviewed Kelly Catrone from People's Revolution. She had been on The Hills, and she had her own TV show called Kel on Earth. It's a fantastic reality show if you've never seen it. She's really, really creative and business-minded, and she's just such a cool woman. And she actually wrote a motivational book. She said in her motivational book she does not like the title of self-help books. And the book is called If You Have to Cry, Go Outside. And it's really, really good. It's about finding your own people and surrounding yourself with people that like bring out your soul and your spirit and things like that. And I remember we asked her in this interview, it was such a fun interview, we said, what do you do when somebody steals your ideas, like your creative ideas? And she laughed and she goes, I just let them have it. She goes, I can come up with 10,000 more creative ideas, but if they can't, then they need it and they can just have it. She's like, I just give it to them, And she's like, I realized a long time ago that I'm like my biggest competition. And I said, what do you mean by that? And she goes, well, I'm like my biggest competition. Like I have to continue to reinvent myself and challenge myself to be better, to do better, all the time. And she's like, and not just, and she said this to us, she was like, and not just, in business, but like as a mother and as, a sister and as a friend and things like that. And that really resonated with me, it really, really resonated with me. I think we did the interview around the time that her book came out, and I just remember thinking to myself, that's so true. Like each of us should be our own competition, right? But even then, I don't feel that way. I kind of feel like I'll say to myself, like, Peter, you could have done better doing this, but I don't live in perfection anymore. Like that's something that I've tried to be. That's one of my like character defects I've been trying to give up recently. And I know it sounds crazy when people say like perfection is a character defect, but I mean perfection as far as like where you do something over and over and over again because you just feel like you can't get it right. And I'm just like, even if I lived in that world, it wouldn't be happy for me. And I finally realized that. I was talking to a friend of mine. I shared this actually, I think on here in my my literature study, that thing that I did on Monday nights. And my friend was like, I realized long ago that I'm never going to achieve perfection, so why continue to try? Something to that effect. And I thought, God, it's so true. And the other thing is like when I go to people's houses, and their houses are less than perfect, and they have like books stacked up in the corner, or, like little things here and there, or like, a shirt folded, or like coats hanging up on a coat rack, but not everything's perfect, or like in the kitchen, like they just made like a pot of coffee and it's like kind of messy or whatever. Like I kind of like that. It's very homey to me, and it's very like, I don't know, it's how I grew up. And I mean, I didn't grow up in a world of perfection. I just didn't. My mom had notes everywhere, and she'd have a book like this, and she'd have one. I hated that she did this because I do it now, but she used to do this with books. Books are our friends. We don't do this. She used to dog ear books. Now I dog ear the hell out of a book. I use a book today. You know what I mean? But that's how I grew up. So anywhere, there'd be a book here, and there'd be like bookmarks sticking out of pieces of paper and notes and things like that. So I don't know. I don't live in a perfect world today, and I don't really believe in winning. None of us are going to win. I mean, when we take our last breath, who cares who is number one? And I come across so many people that it's so important to them, and just to like be number one, and I just let them. Okay. You're so much better than everybody else, Like if it's that important to them, just let them have it. You know what I mean? I don't care. I really don't. And it's like so many people just struggle with that. And we all have our struggles, and maybe there are people out there that it really is important for them to be, for me, validation and words, quality words and things like that are my love languages. So that's more important to me. But I think for other people, being number one is important because maybe they came from backgrounds where they never felt that way, So I just don't relate to that. But that's not a good or a bad thing. Like other people probably do, And I think it's, hard. But I don't know. I think also when you kind of surrender and give up to the idea that you're never going to be number one in life, like who's winning the most? What does that mean, Like I don't know anybody that's number one in life because everybody's journey is completely different and separate, All right, let's read one more meditation. Let's see. I'm going to pick a short one. Oh, this is a good one. So this is from Language of Letting Go by Melody Beatty. Patience, September 1st, patience. Sometimes we get what we want right away. At other times, we wonder if our desires will ever be fulfilled. We will be fulfilled in the best way possible and as quickly as possible. But some things take time. Sometimes we have lessons to learn first. Lessons that prepare us so we can accept the good we deserve. Things are being worked out in us and in others. Blocks in us are being removed. A solid foundation is being laid. Be patient, relax, and trust. Let go. Then, let go some more. Good things are planned for us. We will receive them at the first available moment. We will have all our heart longs for. I just reading that line, I was like, I've done this meditation before on here. Relax and trust. Today I will identify what I want and need. Then I'll be willing to let go of it. I will devote my energy to living my life today so I may master my lessons as quickly as possible. I will trust that what I want and need is coming to me. I will let go of my need to control the details. Oh God, that's so hard for me to stop controlling the details, you know? As far as patience, I'm trying to like get the ring light settled. When I first got sober, patience was another one of my character defects, lack of patience. I was seriously impatient. I wanted things now and when I wanted them, and you know, like you need to work on my schedule kind of thing. And then I realized, and this is just me as a spiritual person, that there's a God and I'm not it. And, you know, I needed to let go of this idea that, you know, you can't believe in God and want to control everything at the same time. You can't, you know, like things turn out the way that they're supposed to on some level, I believe. Maybe not always the way that we understand, you know, but that's a whole other conversation. My first sponsor to have me understand patience was my first sponsor or my second sponsor would have me go, and this is like kind of a big recovery thing, would have me go to like gas stations and I had to open the door for 3 people or let 3 people go ahead of me at line, right? I learned patience, but I will tell you what it does, okay? And I still remember this today. Like if I get caught in traffic and I'm like, ugh, you know, I'm like, breathe. Enjoy your moment. Where are you? You know, the Buddhist monk Thich Nhat Hanh, or Thich Nhat Hanh, I think it's Thich Nhat Hanh, said in his book Peace in Every Step that, like, or I think it's that book. When you are like sitting in traffic, singing a song, or listening to music, singing a song on your way to work, what are you doing in that moment? Well, many people will say, I'm on my way to work, but what you're really doing in that moment is you're singing one note from a song. Remember that. Like, stay that focused, you know, in that moment. And then patience really slows us down, and it really makes us appreciate time more. So when we're trying to speed things up, we're trying to get through our day, and then our day is over, and we're going to bed to start the next day, and 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 then life's over. And we're like, what happened? How'd we get here, right? Slow down. There's no reason to go fast anywhere, okay? You know, even if you're like in a hurry to get somewhere, slow your mind down and relax. Turn the music off. Just have some silence for a second. Talk to yourself, you know? Take 5 minutes throughout the day to just drink a glass of water or a cup of coffee. Slow down. Life's not going anywhere, you know, and we only get but one time around this world, you know, enjoy it. And that is what learning about patience has taught me. And I love you guys, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye.